So the first thing is micro goals. If you're constantly looking at that long-term goal, it can get really demotivating. But if you could focus on those little micro goals, those little daily goals, really help keep motivated. Over time, they turn into massive results.
Welcome to the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. Join host Marco Torres, co-founder of MarketingBoost.com, along with expert guests as they deliver incredible, proven solutions to your marketing challenges in each power-packed episode. Get ready to be blown away with game-changing lessons for your business.
Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. My guest today is a dynamic serial entrepreneur and family man who stands at the helm of Textdrip, a leading business texting automation platform based out of Michigan. Beyond his role as founder and CEO, Phil is deeply passionate about empowering others to shatter that limited belief that holds most of us back. He is a firm believer that being overwhelmed or stressed out is a choice and not a necessity in the modern world. His approach combines the power of automation and technology with the essence of human creativity and passion. Please welcome Philip Portman to the show. Hello, Philip.
Hello, Marco. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on the show, taking the time. We appreciate it. So, Phil, what is a serial entrepreneur to you? Let's start with that. Let's get your definition of that.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So serial entrepreneur, I own several different businesses ranging from the tech side of things, like you described with Textdrip, to a commercial horse farm, kind of everything in between. And the benefit to it is for my ADD self, it allows me to do all kinds of different things and have my hands in different buckets. It also forces me to be really good at developing people to run these businesses because I can't do it myself. And so I've been very fortunate to have some amazing people working with me, and they're ultimately the ones running my business. It would not be possible if it weren't for them. So that's essentially what serial entrepreneur is.
Yeah, and that is a great definition. At the same time, like in my case, I've built multiple businesses over the years, and I am involved in multiple at the same time. But I find that part the most difficult. It's one thing to build and sell and move and start different companies and get them successful. It's a whole nother to run multiple at the same time and manage that without pulling your hair out or like you say, being all stressed out, etc. So tell us, before we do that, tell us how you got where you are. Before we turned the recording on, you told me you were, one of 7 children, and what your definition of success was, and I found that interesting. So let's kind of review that again. When you were growing up, let's start there. Tell us about growing up with 7 brothers and sisters. And
absolutely. So one of 7 kids raised by a single mother. And we started off our journey with my mom in the middle of the night, delivering newspapers or cleaning houses or whatever to get by. And so really learned that work ethic early on from my mother. And, when I said this early on, I said, hey, when I get older, I'm going to become a millionaire and I'm going to marry Cindy Crawford. That was my two goals back then. And my wife is absolutely beautiful. And so I think I achieved that and then achieved the millionaire success as well. And, but as I was going about my journey, as I got into the corporate world and I was making 6 figures and I was doing these different things and I was started my own businesses and started branching off into those, I found myself working nonstop. And one day I looked back at it and said, why am I doing this? I was like telling my employees what I was doing for the day, and I was keeping myself actively busy. And I found that a lot of it came from when I was younger. As I was starting off, keeping busy was how I found success, right? The work ethic was really what I had, that hustle and grind mentality, right? I didn't have money back then. I didn't have the knowledge and stuff like that. What did I have? I had the work ethic, right? But over time, that need to constantly work was actually getting in the way of my businesses, right? I wasn't able to delegate things off. I wasn't able to hand them off to other people. I wasn't able to step back. I wasn't able to look at things from a macro vision like a business owner or CEO should. And that's when a time when I took back and said, you know what? I need to slow down. I need to find comfort in not doing things. And so I completely changed my approach to how I run businesses. And it was the greatest thing that I ever did because I was able to develop some amazing individuals. And it also gave me time to steer the ship, right? To find that North Star direction for my different companies. And I never would have been able to do that hadn't I taken the time to step back and do things like schedule time to do nothing, schedule time to meditate, schedule time to think about my business. If I hadn't done that and then trusted the individuals, there's no way I would be at where I'm at today.
Now that's an interesting way of putting it, in the sense that the strategy, the first steps you took on that was scheduling time for the meditation and or the thinking on the business, and not just always working in the business, but being able to look at things at 30,000 feet and above and so forth. What made you get into automation and drip, text messaging and
all the other stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always loved technology. I mean, back when I was younger, my parents would buy me something, I'd take it apart. I had to know how it would work, right? I was terrible to buy gifts for. If I got a remote control car, I was ripping that thing apart. I needed to know how it worked and functioned. Built a telephone, I was younger, out of a shoebox. I was always into technology. And so when I had developed some companies, one of the companies I had was a food delivery company. I franchised it across 6 states and ended up selling it to delivery.com. And when I sold that company, I was at this kind of moment where it was like, what do I do now? Like, what am I going to do with my life? Like, what now? Right? I'm not just going to retire or whatever. Like, I'm unemployable at this point. There's no way I can go back to working for somebody else again. Once you've had that bug of entrepreneurship, you know that's true. So what am I going to do with my life? And so I sat down and I realized that I love technology. I love creating things. I love solving problems. I wanted to get into that. So I spent time learning how to program. And the first thing that I made was this automation platform and I called it Argos Automation. It was automating the CRM and doing some stuff like that. And I built this whole thing myself. I built it myself. I marketed it myself. I sold it myself. It was like the equivalent of you building birdhouses and selling them yourself, right? It was a very personal experience. So I made $60,000 that first year that I made it. And it was like the most exciting $60,000 I've ever made because I did it all myself, right? Later on, when my developers, my software engineers looked at what I had created, they said, Phil, you're not a programmer, never do it again. I had to go back and fix it all or whatever. But it was exciting for me. And I love the technology. And I'm glad I took the time to really develop the programmer mindset back then because it helped me build those companies later on. And then go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No.
So then I spent time finding areas in the industry that there were gaps and there was holes. And we found one along with 10DLC rolling out and business texting. And that's essentially how we ended up moving into that direction.
Cool. Well, speaking of that, let's take a break and hear from one of our sponsors, Automation Booster. If you're a Marketing Boost member and user and delivering incentives to enhance your call to action, guys, you might need to consider automating it and look at, we'll talk about Philip's business as well here shortly, but we'll be right back as we're talking to Phil as we hear from Automation Booster. Don't go away.
Is your business on autopilot yet? Do you have automation in place to capture, nurture, and convert prospects into clients via email, SMS, ringless voicemails, appointment setting? Get all the inbound and outbound marketing tools in one place. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on automating your business so you can make money while you sleep.
Welcome back. We're here with Phil, a serial entrepreneur, talking about how to successfully manage multiple business simultaneously without pulling your hair out, without going crazy. and of course, using automation. Phil, let's continue down that road. Tell us a little bit more about how you balance the diverse demands of, owning a tech platform and a commercial equestrian facility and hosting a podcast and whatever whatever else you have on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing we've talked about this a couple times is really understanding, is this something you need to do? Is this something that you're doing because you're feeling some anxiety that says, I need to keep busy? Because I experienced that firsthand. And I think addressing that is a starting point. You need to be able to let go, and regardless of all the automation tools or way of hiring people we can come up with, if you can't address that concern first of being able to let go because you need to keep busy, then you're not going to find success in some of the other things. Okay.
I totally relate with that, because when you are an entrepreneur, when you are a go-getter, when you are uh, the workaholic, so to speak, I mean, it easily becomes, and I'm a lot older than you are just from the looks of the screen here, and I'm still in that grind where I enjoy my work, and I can easily, if I don't, and I'm not one to schedule time off really. I just go, go, go. And then before you know it, it's 5 o'clock and I'm like, oh, boom, I need to walk away here. Or my wife's knocking on my office door saying, hey, you got to take a break. We got to go for a walk or whatever, And so, yeah, it's easy to get wrapped away in the drive. I want to keep going. I want to keep growing. I want to keep building. I want to, and maybe not having the right team members or not delegating enough. So tell us more on how you actually do that.
Do all of it. Yeah. So first and foremost, it starts with hiring great people. And I am historically not somebody that's just looking for the degree, looking for the education part. I'm looking for a specific mindset. The mindset that I'm looking for in my leadership, I say I'm looking for the ones that are looking for the C solution. And what I mean by that is, if you're presented with a problem, most people look at it's A or B, right? So I can go this choice or this choice. I want the people who are like, yeah, I get that, but what's the other thing that we're not seeing right now? What's that C solution? What's that thing that is not visibly present in that moment? And that's what I'm looking for in my leadership. I want great people who are obviously passionate about their job, willing to learn, but they got to be the people that are really looking at the situation from all sides and understanding that what is apparent and visible might not be the best option. And that's incredibly important, especially in the tech industry. So hiring great people is a starting point. The second thing is, from my end, managing multiple businesses is predictability. I need to be as predictable as possible. And I do that through my scheduling on a consistent basis. People know where to find me, how often I'm going to communicate with them, when I'm going to communicate with them, what I'm going to communicate on. I want to be as predictable as possible, because if I'm not predictable, I'm causing stress at every chain below me. So being predictable as possible in my role. And then the last thing is automate everything possible with technology or processes, right? So as soon as I have something, once we get it figured out, the major thing I'm thinking of is, how can I automate that, right? So be it your email system that you have coming in, right? You got newsletter, right? Figure out what works and what doesn't. Obviously do that through a manual process if you have to, unless you can find a proven system out there that already works. And then once you have it, automate that system. There's no reason you need to be doing that on your own. The same thing with processes. When we're managing multiple people, if we can automate their processes, and what I mean by that is, they send you this information on a daily basis. They report this to you at this time, right? They follow up with you on this. You have regular one-on-one scheduled already. So you're automating the human part of it in the same way that you are the technology part of it. And doing that allows you to scale your business rapidly, because one, you're eliminating the things that people don't need to do using automation technology. And then two, you're allowing those people to know what is expected of them, how to do it, and how to grow the business on a regular basis, because you've created processes around that. I really had to develop that back when I franchised the companies, when I franchised my companies, because that was one thing you had to do. In order to start a franchise, you had to say, follow these processes, these systems, these procedures, you can do it. Well, that's boded well now that I'm a serial entrepreneur, because I essentially am doing the same thing with my multiple businesses today.
I love the message. And folks, if you're listening, you should be scribbling down notes on how to, automate and set processes in place, because everything is all about the people and the processes to build a company that, in the end of the day, you want to build a company that runs without you, so that it's only the value of your company, if you ever wanted to walk away from it, is how well does it run when you're not there. And so that's part of what we're talking about here, is how do you build that? So tell me how you approach goal setting and decision making in your various ventures.
Yeah, absolutely. So goal setting is incredibly important. I say it's one of my 3 keys to success. And goal setting for me needs to be written out and visible, not only to myself, but to everyone in the organization. We continuously talk about our goal setting. I found early on in my journey this weird thing that was happening. I'd heard from people about vision boards and writing things down and stuff like that. And I had this whiteboard by my gym in my basement, and I would write down my workout goals, right? What I'm going to do, what my target is, all that kind of stuff. Well, on that whiteboard, I started writing my business goals, what I wanted to achieve in business, and a date. So I said, by this date, I want to achieve this thing on this whiteboard. It was clear to see. My whole family could see it right up there on the whiteboard. Well, that date would come and we would hit that target. I was like, man, that's weird. Let me try that again, right? I'd write another goal. Sure enough, on that day, we'd hit that target. And I started saying, well, let's amp it up a little bit. Let's really stretch this one. Let's try to do a really difficult one, right? And I kept hitting these targets. It was just such an amazing thing. Well, and there's a lot of data around it. There's data that talks about how much you increase your ability to hit those goals by writing them down. And then it goes up even more when you write them down and share them with somebody, like an accountability partner. And then it goes up even more when you can visualize you hitting that goal. So those 3 things, writing down your goals, sharing it with an accountability partner, and then truly visualizing that goal inside and out. How am I going to hit it? How do I break down the steps? What do I need to do on a daily basis for me to achieve that goal? Really visualizing yourself. Obviously, you're not just going to throw stuff down there like, oh, I'm going to float around on a yacht, a $200 million yacht by the end of the year and blah, blah, blah. No, that's unrealistic. It's not going to happen, right? But if you can really write down your goal and then visualize the steps that I need to take, I need to contact this many people. I need to outreach to this many. I need to close this many people, right? I really start manifesting and growing this idea of how I'm going to hit that goal. Now it starts to make sense. Now it starts to come into power. And I'm telling you, amazing things happen when you write these things down. My wife did the same thing with her book when she was writing. She had a really clear goal. Honest to God, you could talk to her and ask her on this. She wrote down this goal for 2024. She wrote it down in 2023. She wrote it down. Day 1, January 1st of this year, 2024, she hit that goal. And she wrote, this is the goal I want to hit in 2024. She was mind blown. She was like, apparently your crazy vision board stuff works, because it worked out.
Wow.
So, yeah,
that's powerful.
Amazing things happen. Absolutely.
So take away there, guys. Write them down, share it, and visualize. And even that means taking, pictures of if part of that goal is what you're going to do with it, take a vacation or whatever, then pick pictures of it, put it on that board, put it in your wallet, put it on your dashboard of your car, something that reminds you daily that you're on this path to get there. So as an entrepreneur, what are you currently excited about or paying most attention to?
Well, we're all watching AI right now, right? We're all actively involved with AI. We're all doing stuff with AI right now. AI is the center focus of everybody. And I think if you're resistant to AI right now, you're missing the boat. And you're gonna be behind what's going on with it. at this point in the game, it needs to be just an active part of your continuing education, right? So something you're keeping up on the news. If you're not following articles on AI, then you're going to get left behind because it's affecting every single industry right now. I went and over the last weekend, I had a full body MRI. Okay. And it's like an executive scan. It's a thing you can do now if you're crazy. And I did it for my birthday. I went and got a full body scan and MRI. I went to Chicago to do it. And I had the scan on Sunday. Okay. And I got the full results on Tuesday. How do you think that's possible? It's possible with AI. And the crazy thing is, AI is better at finding things in X-rays and MRIs than humans are. They've already surpassed the radiologists, right?
Wow.
Yeah, they're finding things, early detection and all these other things. They're finding it earlier and quicker than the humans can. They have no idea what the AI has even seen. And that's remarkable. So you think about a job or an industry that's disrupting that you wouldn't think of, like radiology. Of course, it's going to affect every other industry. But I don't think this is something you need to fear. I think it's something you need to embrace. And the quicker you embrace it, the more you're going to move forward. I think about like schools, like they really shouldn't be preventing students from using AI. No, they should be saying, hey, whoever's the best at figuring this out and doing this and utilizing the AI is going to get the credit because that's what the future jobs are. And the same thing in your space. Now, I do want to add a flip side to that, kind of the balance. And I'm all about balance. I love technology, but I also know the concerns with it. Use AI as a tool, but don't lose your voice. Don't lose your authenticity. People can see those comments and those posts and those things that you're doing on there that are created fully by AI. So I would say, don't forget what makes you different. What's your individual, because people still want the human experience in there. They don't just want some AI generated everything. So use AI as a tool. Use it to generate ideas. Use it to help clean up what you already wrote. But make sure you're including the human in there as well. And that's true with everything. We got to make sure we have balance with everything we're looking at. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket. No, say, okay, I understand AI. I'm going to use it as a tool, but I'm still going to put in the effort to make sure that Phil Portman is coming through on that, right? And I think that's the big thing that we all need to make sure we're focusing on in the future is authenticity is going to become really, really important when somebody can take 2 seconds, type something up and generate a whole blog article in 30 seconds, right? Well, if they all look the same, then no one cares. But if they have your authenticity in there, they have a piece of you, that's going to be the differentiator in this experience.
Yeah, all the more reason that's true because eventually, who's going to want to read all this stuff if it's just written by a machine? You could have asked ChatGPT yourself the question. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to hear from our other main sponsor, Marketing Boost, and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
It's time to wow, surprise, and impress your clients with the most powerful customer draw card available anywhere. The Marketing Boost Solutions Show is brought to you by Marketing Boost, where you can get valuable travel and restaurant incentives to drive your leads from prospects to paying customers. Now you can offer complimentary hotel stays in over 130 destinations worldwide. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com and try it for free right now.
You just heard from Marketing Boost. Folks, if you're in business and you're looking for ways to stand out from the crowd, be able to wow, surprise, and delight your clients, offer perks and rewards, and be able to create loyalty programs and stand out from the crowd, you need to give Marketing Boost a deep look. I mean, you can be for $37 a month, you can be giving away an unlimited amount of complimentary hotel stays in 130 destinations around the world, or using our restaurant certificates for smaller micro incentives for micro calls to action, like download my PDF. And when you download our, your lead magnet PDF, we'll throw in a $25 restaurant certificate as our gift to you. And you're giving people additional reasons to take action for your lead generation purposes or closing more sales. Check out marketingboost.com. We're back here with Phil. Phil, You've been giving us a whole bunch of powerful wisdom here on how to properly grow a business, how to do it without going crazy and stressful, and properly hiring the right people and setting up processes and automation. When you look back at your life here in business, and you're a super young man as well, but I mean, what would be one thing you'd wish you knew that you could when you first started out as an entrepreneur, you'd do differently now?
That everyone's just winging it. So early on in my career, and I think a lot of people suffer with this imposter syndrome, right? Where you're like, you look at somebody else or some other business and you're like, they've got it figured out. They know what they're doing, right? They don't. And I've talked to some really large companies. They don't. They're constantly adapting. They're constantly changing. They're constantly trying to figure things out. If you think what worked 5, 10 years ago, specifically in marketing, is going to work today, you're wrong. You need to be part of a community where you're constantly talking about it. You need to be researching it. You need to be educating yourself to stay up on what is going on today in those industries. So the thing that I would take away is from everyone's winging it is it's okay if your solution to the problem is a little bit different than what the norm is, because there's a very good chance that the norm is a year to 5 years behind what is currently going on. And it's very possible that you're exploring a new trend or new idea or new thing that is going to set you apart from your competitors. And I wish I would have known that earlier on, because I always thought, well, I got to do things the way that they did it, right? Like I started off in like the food delivery business, and I had this marketing strategy and all this other stuff, and I hired this third party, real big marketing firm to come in and start running my business for me. To start running the marketing side of things, and very expensive out here. The big three, the auto companies, the big three auto companies were using them. I mean, they were the ones to go with, right? What ended up happening? A ton of money spent, very little, if no results. What worked was what I was doing already, the social media advertising, the marketing, and all the things I was doing. The stuff that they were trying to do was the old school stuff that they'd been doing for years prior that no longer worked. Fact. And so understand that a lot of times people are winging it. Trust yourself. Have the confidence in yourself. Put on that hat of confidence and just believe in yourself and figure it out. But continuously educate yourself, be involved in communities, and read articles, stay top on videos, social media groups, anything you can do to be a part of things that are going to help educate you and keep you on the journey that you're trying to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, in the notes below, guys, there's links in there for joining the Marketing Boost Solutions community and our weekly newsletter, providing you with amazing content that we're aggregating to help you stay tuned to what's going on in AI and automation and incentive-based marketing and a whole lot more. Phil, one of the ideas I wanted to ask you about, I mean, you're really great at simplifying and breaking things down for the entrepreneur to have the right mindset. What strategies would you recommend for staying motivated and driven as an entrepreneur? Because it's a lonely journey sometimes for many of the home-based business operators today, the small entrepreneur working from home. We don't always have, ever since COVID, right? Many thousands of us are now working from home. But now there's no camaraderie. There's no going to the office, and well, for many of us anyway, we're not going to the office, and we're not patting each other on the back and being in those motivational meetings where you get inspired by others in the group. So you're on your own. What do you recommend for people to in that scenario to stay motivated and stay driven?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I want to talk about is anybody that's familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Essentially, it talks about meeting your base needs before you get to the top needs. And some of those base needs are really focused around physical and mental health. It's difficult to be the top version or the best version of yourself if you're not eating right, you're not getting exercise, you're not getting enough sleep at night, right? That's a big one, especially for entrepreneurs. How can you expect to stay motivated? How can you expect that engine to be revving the way that it is when you're putting shitty fuel in it, right? And running it nonstop with no brakes? Eventually that engine's going to blow. And the same thing's going to happen in your situation. So the first thing I would say is focus on your health. Make sure it's where it needs to be. And it doesn't need to be major. You don't need to go out and get a gym membership. But if you're telling me you can't 10 minutes watch a YouTube fitness video and do it, at your house, come on, you can do it. If you can't go for a quick jog, maybe in front of your house, jump on a treadmill, do something to focus on your physical health. And the same thing with food that you're putting in, right? Are you spending time actually looking at what you're eating? Or is it just a convenience thing you're throwing in your gullet? Because that definitely affects your overall health, including your mental health. Along with the physical health, we want to talk about the mental health. It's not a stigma to focus on your mental health. We used to think like, hey, if you, mental health, what's wrong with that guy, right? No, focusing on your mental health is important if you want to be optimized best version of who you are. If you keep hitting a limitation in your life or in your business, there's a chance that there's probably something in there that's holding you back. And sometimes it takes talking to somebody else and kind of peeling back that onion to see what is that thing that keeps getting in my way that's preventing me from taking it to the next level. So the people that are focused on their mental health are not the ones often that just have a problem. No, they're focusing on their mental health because they want to take it to another level. They say, to get what I never have, I need to do what I've never done, right? To get something that my parents never had, I got to do something they've never done. And they never focused on their mental health. I do, right? So talking to other people, counseling, having those conversations, and then meditation, daily meditation are great for the health. So the next thing I want to talk about, so the first thing is to focus on your physical and mental health. The second thing I want to talk about is micro goals. If you're constantly looking at that long-term goal, it can get really demotivating. But if you could focus on those little micro goals, those little daily goals, how am I getting 1% better today, right? How am I improving my business by these micro things? Over time, they turn into massive results, but those micro goals really help keep motivated. And they need to be lead measure goals. And what I mean by lead measure goals are things that you can actually affect. Right? So we're not focusing on the overall revenue goal. We know it's there, right? But we're focusing on how many calls do I need to take today? How many emails? How many text messages? How many things do I need to do on this daily basis? Those are the micro goals. Those are the lead measure goals that lead to the long measure goals. So that'll help keep you inspired if you're focusing on those lead measure goals and on a daily basis, am I winning or am I losing based on those micro lead goals that you can actually manage and contribute to the overall goal. And then the last thing I want to talk about that I don't think is talked about a lot, and that's daily gratitude. I have a journal I keep by my bed, and every single day I write down what I am grateful for. And I think it's an incredibly important component. We humans think we're still running from bears or something. We're constantly looking for the problem. We're looking for the struggle. We're focused on the issues that we have. And it takes prioritizing to focus on the amazing things happening in your life, right? Like all of the cool things, the fact that you were even alive and exist in this world is amazing. Are you grateful for it? Are you grateful for your family, the people around you, the people you interact with? Are you grateful for that sale you made last week, right? And the fact that you have a roof over your head and your bills are paid, those are all things to be grateful for, but you'll never focus on them if you don't actually prioritize, make time for it, and write it down. So again, the three things: focus on your mental and physical health, micro lead goals that you can manage on a daily basis, and then write down things that you're grateful for on a daily basis.
Wow. You've just been amazingly full of great wisdom today. do you have a book? Are you a trainer, a coach on this type of stuff, or is it just all flowing?
Yeah, yeah. No, so it's funny. I just finished my manuscript for a book I am writing. I have a podcast, the Success Is podcast, and I have the opportunity to just interview some amazing people, similar to like what you get to do here. And um, selfishly, I do it because I get to learn a lot from them. And I start distilling some of that stuff, right? And I was always thinking like, the way that I do things, or the way that I think, or the way that I manage my businesses, is it just me? Like, because once again, we're all just winging it, right? But then I start to find some of these common themes between people, and I say, no, you know what? There is a recipe for success in there. It's not just somebody won the lottery, or, oh, they just happened on this business thing. No, there's a process, there's a system, there's behaviors that do it. And that's what we're talking about here. Yep. So this is the
Success.
six.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Success Is podcast. If you'd like to tune in, you can also jump on my website, philportman.com. We have the podcast episodes there. And I interview people from all different backgrounds, be it entrepreneurs, hedge fund managers, to authors, to a little bit of everybody. So
Very cool. Let's talk a little bit about your textdrip.com. What can you tell us about Textdrip?
yeah, so business texting platform. We focused on deliverability and customer service. And when 10DLC rolled out, which is basically regulations for how business texting is supposed to get done through in 10-digit phone numbers, it was really difficult for a lot of businesses to manage that. We made it a really seamless process. The primary function with Textdrip is we built it around the best form of communication, the best response rate you can get from customers. Whereas a lot of other companies had built theirs around emails, which are great, and they threw on texting as kind of an afterthought. Well, if you follow the 80-20 rule, texting has the best open rate, best response rate of any form of communication. So we built our entire platform around that. And if you disagree with me, I say, look at your phone. How many unread emails do you have? If you're like me, it's thousands. How many unread text messages do you have? Well, probably very little.
Yeah.
So we built Textdrip. So you can go on a website, say, hey, I want information, and you get put on a Textdrip campaign. And that's essentially how it works. For any of your viewers that are listening, if they do go check out our website, they get a 60-day free trial and 3,000 credits. They just have to tell customer service they heard this episode.
Cool. And the link for that will be down below. And the message is in the links below, either the podcast or the YouTube channel. You'll be able to click over and get a hold of Textdrip for a free trial.
Thank you.
And then what else do we got? We got your Facebook page to follow you here, your website, philportman.com. Man, it's been fun talking to you today. Lots of great stuff. Really good information. So if I was going to, before we wrap it up, I mean, what other insights would you give us on, telling an entrepreneur getting started, what should be some of their first steps that they should be taking to set the path correctly for success?
Yeah, absolutely. So understanding your industry clearly, I think is first and foremost. What is it that you're solving? What is your problem you're solving? What's your differentiator in that industry? It's okay if somebody else is already in that industry. It's okay. There's enough for all of us to go around. You're going to find competition in everything you go into. And if you get too hung up on the competition, then you're going to burn yourself out. But it starts with understanding your business really clearly. And the thing I would say, especially when you're getting started, is be an inch wide, mile deep, not a mile wide, inch deep. If you're going to market, like let's say you're in the insurance business and you're going to market to every industry out there, you're going to stretch your ad dollars very thin. But if you're going to market to a very specific niche industry, and you can build your marketing material and all of your information directly around that industry that you're going to target, like yoga studio owners or whatever it is, you're going to be you're going to find much better results, because now instead of competing with every other industry out there, you're competing with just that one very niche area. And then when you find success in it, now you can start branching out. Now you can start growing. What I see too often happens is somebody gets into their industry and they try to do everything all at once, and it just burns them out. So be very specific on what problem you're solving, what industry you're going after. Be very specific in defining that.
Defining who your avatar, who your customer is, who's your best customer, and then go focus on trying to get those versus saying, yeah, I can serve everybody. Serving everybody means you're, it's kind of like I'm the the jack of all trades. I'm the jack of all trades, but I'm an expert at none. So
Expert in none, absolutely. But on that, I do want to talk about some marketing strategies that I would focus on, since we are here marketing. So
absolutely, please.
The first thing is embrace multi-channel or omni-channel marketing. So you need a marketing strategy that's multiple strategies: social media, email, SMS, offline. Do not rely on one channel. The data shows, right? It's 7 or 8 times before someone makes a purchase. 7 or 8 times they need to be contacted. They need to see you all over the place. If you are focusing on one channel, right? I'm just going to run these Facebook ads, you're missing it. You need to be hitting them multiple different ways. So embrace an omni-channel marketing solution. If you can automate that, fantastic, but make sure that you're focusing on that. The next thing I want to talk about is incorporating user-generated content. So encouraging your customers to create and share content related to your brand. If you can get them to make videos, you can get them to do testimonials, anything that builds authenticity, trust, and social proof is leading to significantly higher engagement in the industry right now, especially when we're dealing with an AI world where anyone can generate anything, right? When you actually have real customers commenting on your social media posts, you have real customers doing testimonials, video testimonials, I'm telling you, you're just going to be printing money if you can get really
those
great.
Those of you who know our story, Marketing Boost was born on this concept itself. We had our travel site, one of our travel sites prior to launching Marketing Boost, and we wanted video testimonials. We needed more social proof, but we couldn't get anybody to hardly, go that extra mile and film a selfie testimonial from the hotels and resorts we were selling. So we came up with an idea. We thought we'd only do it temporarily, but because we wanted at least a half a dozen or a couple of dozen of these video reviews. So we offered our clients a bonus vacation, a complimentary hotel stay for 3 nights in Orlando or Las Vegas if they'd film a selfie testimonial and brag about the hotel they were staying at and brag about our brand. And if they did that, we'd bonus them with a complimentary trip. Well, guess what? Today, that site's got over 30,000 video testimonials, more than any other travel website in the world. And that became the birth of what eventually became marketingboost.com, where we went out. Here's how it works, guys. We went out to the hotel partners that we have, because we were in the travel space, and we said, look, we found a way to help solve a problem. Your hotels are never full year round. Sure, you sell out on certain holidays, certain peak seasons, but your hotel is mostly empty. So, not mostly, but 30, 40, 50% of the year, you've got empty rooms. And yet you have the same fixed costs, mortgage payments, front desk staff, et cetera. So we convinced hotels to give us their excess inventory of what was not sold, as long as it was a private community where people were, it wasn't like they're on the internet for free vacations. And so their brand was not affected, and we could fulfill our vacation giveaways. And eventually we offered this as a brand new business. So that's kind of how it works, guys. And Philip, head on. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but I figured.
No, absolutely.
But just to let people know that, rewarding you, that's another way to use the Marketing Boost incentives, is to encourage your clients to go that extra mile and film a selfie review of your product or service. And after they do so, you're like, hey, here's the reward I promised you. And boom, you can be generating. And you only need, we have 30,000 of them on that website. No one's going to watch 30,000 video reviews. But when they see, the hundreds of them or what have you, that's all. Maybe they'll watch one. But miracle if they watch 2, but that social proof is there, and it's obviously not, like paid for, the text messages or, text reviews or what have you. So
Yeah, but just like what you're saying, 30,000, but it's probably over multiple areas. If you're starting off in your niche and you have people in that industry with the social proof talking about your brand and that, it's very common that they attend the same trade shows together. They know them, right? They've seen their advertisement, their websites. You are building a community in that niche that is talking about your brand. And that's why it's really important. So maybe it doesn't need to be 30,000, obviously, but when you're starting off, it could be just a handful of them,
Yeah,
but you're
five
building
five
that
or
brand.
six is huge on your web page, on your sales
Yep.
funnel, on your landing page, and et cetera. So it's very powerful and very easy to develop and generate. You got to ask though. You got to ask for them. You got to solicit them. If you don't ask, you won't receive. So, but you were on a roll there, and I interrupted you with some of the
You're good.
marketing
No,
strategies.
the last thing I just want to tie into that, and that's the customer review management. Same type of thing as the user generated content. You have to ask for reviews. You have to get satisfied people to write positive reviews. And every person I talk to, that when I say that, they're like, "Well, what happens if they write bad reviews?" Well, then fix whatever it is that caused that bad review, hopefully. But either way, there's a ton of data that shows that people are going to support brands that are around 4 stars up, not 5 stars, because 5 stars looks fake. But if you're 4.1, 4.2 around there, so it's okay to occasionally have negative reviews. But it's a reflection of your product, of your brand. If you're getting bad reviews, fix what's causing those bad reviews. But if you're continuously asking for those reviews, you can compensate people. Where it becomes kind of the gray areas, if you're compensating for 5-star reviews, that's something that's typically frowned upon. But if you're compensating for reviews, there's nothing wrong with that. You still have to compensate if they give you 1 star or 5-star, doesn't make a difference. But you will find that you typically get more 5-star when you're offering some sort of compensation to them for taking the time out of their busy schedule to review you. And it is a proven fact that will help drive your trust and credibility when people can do reviews. I mean, you look at it right now, you go to buy a product on Amazon. What do? Scroll down, look at the reviews, read the comments. What are people saying about this? They're doing the exact same thing for your brand as well.
Absolutely. Now, I'll give you another tip that we've used successfully and seen many others do, and that is do an internal. Rather than asking, and just a different idea here, Phil. Rather than asking everybody for a review when they immediately right after they buy your product, one idea that we've seen work very, very well for us and others is to solicit a survey, do a survey when you expect your clients should be at their peak of happiness for your product. For example, with our travel website I was talking about, their peak of happiness was the day after they checked in, not the day they booked the hotel on our website. So we'd wait until they checked into the hotel to send them an email and text message saying, hey, what do you think of our service? What do you think of the hotel you're staying at? Is it living up to your expectations? And how has our service been so far? Can you give us a 1 to 5-star rating? What do you think? Now, that was a private message. And so if they replied with a 1, 2, or 3, and they had a problem with something with the hotel, then we had the opportunity to jump all over it and try to fix it on behalf of the client, and or at least, as you said, maybe take that hotel down from our website if it's something that we continue to get issues with. But if they gave us a 3, 4, or 5, especially the 4s and 5s, those are the ones we'd be saying, hey, could you do us a huge favor and help us spread the word about that hotel brand, or help us spread the word about our brand and service? And, those are the ones that, if you solicit the folks that are already evangelists for your brand for a review, you can ask those people to write 3 of them. Here, please post on SiteJabbers, Shopper Approved, and Trustpilot, and they'll write 3 reviews, and maybe they'll give you a video review as well. So that's another way to kind of help manage your online reputation by doing the internal. So that may not be the best practices according to Google, but it.
No, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong about that. I think what they don't want is you compensating for a specific.
Yeah, to say, if you give me a 4 or 5, I will give you the following. Right. So
that's right. That's against their terms. But if you're picking and choosing who you get to reviews, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just good business practice. So.
Right. And of course, you're going to get negatives if you're doing a lot of volume. If you're doing a lot of volume, eventually you're going to have somebody not happy with the product or service you offer. And here's another example. We've seen many of our members use Marketing Boost, and that's just to solve a customer service problem. Let's say you did have somebody write a negative review. You could contact that client and say, "Listen, we'd love to ask you for the opportunity to hit the reset button. We want to send you a new product. We want to fix the problem. We want to rewrite the deal. We want to, whatever you got to do to fix it." And then you say, on top of everything else, just as our gift to you for the aggravation you've been through and us dropping the ball, we'd also like to give you a bonus 3-night getaway in Las Vegas on us. Doesn't include airfare, food and beverage, or government taxes and fees, but we get your hotel stay on us in Las Vegas. Now, after we do all that, we fix the problem and we send you a hotel stay in Las Vegas. Would you consider updating that review or taking it down? And you'll find people more than willing, if you fix the problem and threw in some sort of bonus or incentive, are going to be willing to take down the negative review altogether, or certainly update it and say, "Hey, and you take somebody who's upset and turn them into an evangelist for your brand." So it's another idea on how to use Marketing Boost. Not to plug my stuff over here, but that's what I do.
No, but you're absolutely right, right? They talk about the true test of a business is not when things are going right, but when something goes wrong, how do you handle that? Right. And you'll often get far better reviews from bad situations that you made right than you will just a generic customer. So
yeah,
absolutely.
And those become the evangelists for your brand if you did it right. And now they are thrilled with what you did to fix the problem. And they understand problems happen, but because you fixed it, now they're willing to tell others, and they're willing to share, and they're willing to post positive reviews, etc. Wow, we've been going at it. I've been writing a bunch of notes down myself. Before we wrap it up, Phil, any final words of wisdom from you to the entrepreneur who's struggling to get volume going, or struggling to get to the next level of his reaching the next level of his goals?
Yeah, so I'm gonna share with you my 3 keys to success, real quick. And this is things I've talked to people from all different backgrounds that I've kind of distilled from the common things that I've heard from them that hopefully your audience can take this away. The first one is having that written goals, having that whiteboard, having that vision board with very clearly defined goals. This is my goal. This is my target. Everyone knows on it. I'm visualizing it. I understand it. I have an accountability partner to it. It's written down. Have those clear goals. How do you know how to get to where you're going if you don't have it written down? Right? So start with clearly written goals. I would also encourage you to do these goals with your partner. Are you guys aligned on what your future looks like? Have you taken the time to write down these goals? So have written goals somewhere visible. The second thing is focus on creating healthy habits while eliminating the bad habits. Okay. 2 healthy habits that I've seen from just about every successful person I've talked to. The first one is having some sort of physical exercise on a daily basis. The second one is reading. I can just about any person I'm talking to on a call go, "Hey, what book are you reading right now?" And they'll pull it out and go, "Oh, I'm reading this one right here," right? Continuous education is incredibly important, right? We're talking about marketing right now, and there's entire ways of marketing right now. There's social media platforms that didn't even exist 5 years ago that exist now. So if you're of the mindset that 42% of Americans are, which is once I'm done with college, I never need to read a book again. And that's a fact. 42% of adults after they graduate college will never read a book again. On the flip side, the top CEOs read 1 book a week. So it's quite a difference. Do you want to be the average American, or do you want to be the top CEO? And you'll find reading, continuing education is an important way to do that. So create healthy habits. Be careful of the bad habits. One really easy bad habit to take up is your phone. All of the notifications that we get on a daily basis. They're like that bell just training us to start drooling, right? For me, I turn off the notifications. When I'm on social media, when I'm dealing with those type of things, I'm doing it at a very set, specific time. I do not want things that are going to be leading my life. And I'm constantly looking for things that could very quickly become bad habits or addictions. A cell phone is a really easy way to do it because it's constantly pulling for your attention. Turn off those notifications if at all possible. The last key to success that I found over and over again from these people, I call arrogant confidence. Time and time again, I see these people that are just incredibly intelligent, and they put their talent in a box and never showcase it because they're so afraid of I'm not as good. I can't do this. I got this imposter syndrome. And then on the flip side, I've seen some really dumb people do amazing things because they just had the confidence to go out and do it. I'm like, man, this guy, can do it. Well, there's actually an effect for it. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it's interesting. The smarter people limit themselves. The dumber people have more confidence. It's really weird effect. So what I like to do is put on this hat of confidence. I call it this arrogant confidence, where I'm going to do something that's outside of, it's just right above what my normal confidence level would be. I'm acting that role. I'm playing that part. And it's allowed me to do things like franchise a company. What am I, McDonald's? How can I franchise? I didn't even go to college. How can I franchise a company? That's crazy. Open a company in India? What do I know about international law, right? How can I do these things? Who am I? But yet I'm still doing them. I'm still moving forward because in that moment, I'm putting on this hat of arrogant confidence. So those are my 3 keys to success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil. Folks, again, find philportman.com. All the links below to reach and contact Phil. Follow him. Sign up for his, check out his texting service. If you like the content we brought you today, we really want to first thank you for listening to the show. If you like the content, please share it with somebody else. Share it with another entrepreneur who's looking for success tips and on business, etc. Share, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Marketing Boost Solutions podcast. Stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty for knowledge. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Boost Solutions podcast with your hosts, Captain Marco Torres. Now it's on you. Take the next step now. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on how you can wow, delight, and surprise your clients with the most amazing draw card on the planet. So stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty for knowledge. See you next time.